this is my update on my graduation process. So, do I want to say it was bad? It wasn't as good as it could have been. I had so many anxiety attacks, right? So I made this, and you can see that I had originally designed it to stop at the elbows, but I had to add the sleeves because of my developing a polyester allergy. And you can see here, it's way better since I just finally just ditched everything that had actually I even ditched stuff that only had 40% polyester in it. Hang on, it is so dusty in here. I need to clean my desk, and I plan on doing a video on how do I do that at the beginning of the term, right? I was also making this to wear when I went to Arizona, and obviously I just had to set it aside. I was having so much anxiety. I had to take a day or two before I flew out just for self-care, relaxation, try to take some naps. It was bad. It was really bad. Then the day that I flew to Arizona, and keep in mind, I have not been on a plane since 2017. This was my first time flying with medical equipment. I have a nebulizer now. I have extra prescriptions. I've got estrogen blockers I have to take and everything. And it was massively anxiety inducing. I had to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning because my flight took off from Seattle at 6 a.m. And I wanted to be there more than 2 hours in advance of my flight taking off because I had never flown with medical equipment before, and I'd heard so many horror stories. Yes, it was anxiety inducing. Was it as bad? Absolutely not. So they switched concourses on me at the last minute. I don't think that helped either. Like what they told me in the app and where I went was not. I mean, it was easier where I went, right? But still, that having things switched up on you at the last minute when you have anxiety is not the best thing. And I took some video, like when we took off and stuff like that, and then totally like massive, even worse anxiety when I got down there. Did not film anything because I was having such a hard time dealing with it. The commencement was on Monday morning that week at insane time. It's like be there by 8 a.m. Well, the time difference for me, that's like being there at 7 o'clock in the morning. And because my degree had already been conferred, because I finished at the end of August, I was not finishing up in fall semester. I had the option of not attending commencement and just going to the convocation on Wednesday anyway. And I decided that would probably, for my stress levels, my anxiety, my peace of mind, that was probably going to be the best thing. And I am so glad I did that because there were 12,000 people graduating on that Monday. And I did not know a living soul that would have been there. They weren't even going to have the master students walk across the stage at that one. It was only the PhD students. They were expecting us, total strangers, to hood each other. So I skipped that. Then on Wednesday, I had the event for the online students. I got to meet my student success coach, who I have had for 3 programs at Arizona State. So that was really cool to finally see them in person instead of just on Zoom. And it was a fully catered lunch, some of the most delightful looking and smelling Mexican food I have ever seen in my life. And I couldn't eat any of it because my stress all goes in my stomach. What added to my stress was my best friend had woken up with a migraine. And so she gave me the keys to her Volkswagen and said, here, you can drive yourself. It's just around the corner. That was 6 miles. I've never driven in Arizona before in my life. But it was mid-morning, so it wasn't, rush hour traffic or anything. A little more concerned about somebody cutting me off when I didn't expect it, right? Because you know what the traffic patterns are where you live, and you know how to recognize somebody's probably going to cut you off. So anyway, I parked at the auditorium, and my student success coach drew me up this little map to follow and what different buildings to go through, because the student union center, you cannot get there in a car. It's in the middle of campus. That's all like pedestrian friendly. So, but then I had to go back over for the College of Global Futures convocation, where I got the padded envelope, right, for my diploma to go into. I have never seen any graduation like this before. Everyone I've been to before, multiple different schools, the graduates walk in from the back, they sit down, and you go and walk on stage to get the padded envelope, shake the dean's hand, all that kind of stuff. That is not what they did. It was like a Broadway production. They had us come in behind the stage, at the back of it, between all the curtains and stuff. They had like 12 people back there, like mic'd up, clipboards, organizing everybody. And then we had to walk across the stage like we're in a beauty pageant and wave at everyone, even though we couldn't see anybody because the stage lights were in our face. I thought I was going to throw up on the stage, so I'm glad I didn't eat. I did manage not to throw up, thankfully. But then we did the thing where you went up and you handed them the card and they called your name, and you got the little padded thing for your diploma and shook the dean's hand and all that bunch of stuff. My zipper on my gown broke before I even got to that point. It broke when I sat down after I went across the stage in the first place. I am shocked at the lack of quality in the Perf Jones cap and gown for 2025 compared to my last program in 2023. I left it behind. I had mailed it down there ahead of time because I knew I wasn't going to fit it in that backpack. But I left it behind so it could be donated. Is anybody going to want one with a broken zipper? I have no idea. It was so thin and cheap in the cost. It was almost $200 for the cap, the gown, the master's hood, and the tassel, when I got my graduate certificate in instructional design in 2023, no, I did not go down for that, but I did order a cap and gown and everything because as a college professor, you're supposed to wear your cap and gown from your last degree when you go to see your students graduate. So I needed it for that reason in 2023. It was only like 120 to 140 bucks. This one was very nearly $200 and just much thinner. I'd have to look at the zipper. I still have my other one, and I'm glad I kept that one because it's a much higher quality cap and gown, right? Anyway, then later after dinner, we had the Native American ceremony, and that's where I got this. And I was very glad that I went. In the end, my best friend took a picture of me outside the auditorium after the Native American one. I absolutely have a look of sheer terror on my face. I am not going to interview with anxiety. I'm not going to traumatize you by showing you that. And then when I got back, it was, I flew into SeaTac. It's the last Friday before Christmas. And I have never seen SeaTac like that in my life. It was so crowded. I was the last person off the plane because I was getting my medical equipment and everything out of the overhead bin. I could barely fight my way through there. And I have flown to the East Coast with all the college students, going back there when their term starts. And it wasn't that crowded. It was absolutely nuts. And then I'm following the signs because it was going to take the light rail. And then have one of my kids pick me up at the light rail station. They had us walk all the way back out to the ticketing desks where you check your suitcase, if you have one to check. Then I had to go across the sky bridge into the parking garage. And they do have a little golf cart thing that seats like 4 people that's free that you can take to the light rail station, but it's only the one golf cart and it's a one person driving it. So, and there's no sign that has a schedule, wait here for a free ride, back in 5 minutes or anything like that. And I thought, it can't be that far away, can it? It was almost a mile walk through the parking garage to get to the light rail station. And then I didn't think to film anything then because I'm still like, I'm tired. I want to go home and not quite sure where I'm going because every time I went around a corner, I thought, well, for sure, I'm right there because it doesn't look like it's that far away when you come into the light rail station from the street. And then when I got on the light rail and everything, I'm looking back, there's 6 lanes in the driveway at SeaTac that come in, and you've got a couple of lanes that go around to the baggage claim, and then you've got like 4 lanes that go to departures. It was packed as far as I could see, and nobody was moving. When I say it looked like the zombie apocalypse, I am not kidding. So I got down there, had trouble remembering at the light rail station. I ended up walking more than I needed to, and ended up between the Phoenix airport and SeaTac. I think I walked It was over 4 miles, right? Which you may think, oh, that's not that bad. But when you're stressed out, that's just, you feel like you're like trudging through the wilderness or whatever, right? But then I had missed that kid's birthday because I was in Arizona. So I took him out to dinner. Since then, I've just been catching up on my sleep for the last 2 weeks. I ran my body through the ringer with that much anxiety. Should I have done it? I am glad I went. I am glad I have memories that I can pull the next time my brain freaks out and tries to go, no, we can't do that. But still, it really, really took a toll on me. I hurt. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. The interruption to my digestion from not being able to eat because I've been hypoglycemic for years was not good. So am I ever going to go to a graduation of mine again? Because my next thing that I'm doing is I am working on my application for a PhD in public policy and administration. The university that I am applying to for that is on the East Coast. No, I do not want to go there at all, period. This program is entirely online, including the dissertation defense, and I have no desire to go there and with thousands of more people that I have never seen in my life and go through that, whatever their graduation process is. Because it's all online, I can order the cap and gown. My degree will be conferred. I'll be fine not attending that. And some people might think that's insane because that's such a monumental, it's a culmination of all your years of being in school. I'm good, right? So there is not going to be any updated video from in between the last one in this series and this one. I just did not film enough, and I think it would be really disjointed. It wouldn't help you understand what I went through with my anxiety in this process in case you have anxiety and and you have a graduation maybe coming up in June or something. So this is the end of this particular series of videos about how I've handled graduation. Am I glad I went? Yes, I am. I truly am. But I don't want to do it again. So now I had like I said, this is take 2. I had filmed this in Camtasia and then had Camtasia crash on me. So that is why I am in the Zoom right now. And my best friend got me these earrings for a graduation present. And so I'm going to have my video editor convert it. I am not sure. I've got a couple other videos I was going to record today as well, and those will be spaced out. I don't think I'm going to take the time to fiddle with a background. I do have upcoming why you should not quit teaching, why I won't start a Substack, and I need to add that in there, why you should record yourself like this as a teacher, even if you're in K-12 and you're only presenting instruction to small children. So look for those. And I will say goodbye for now. And I will see you in the next one.